I'm always nervous when I'm the first speaker. Uh, was nervous also in school when I was in the first bench. So basically, I am essentially a music composer. I do in films, um, but I also travel. And I travel to understand myself. I also travel to understand you, the others. Sometimes music can become extremely narcissistic. Me, I, my best song, my number of hits, my YouTube likes. Uh, I often feel sometimes that restricts me. That's when I take off. In 2018, I traveled for 100 days across the Himalayas, above 14,000 feet, with my mobile phone switched off. That 100-day was absolute. It just kind of opened up my mind as to what all is available out there. And I was planning to go next to Ganga. Uh, and I was planning to cycle down the river right from the origin to where the Ganga ends, which is Gangotri to Ganga Sagar. And then COVID happened. COVID happened, things happened, not so pleasant things. Our near and dear ones, we lost them. I lost my father to COVID. I was very angry. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. And the thought just occurred to me that time is precious, time is short. I need to make this trip now. I can't keep on delaying this. So I prepared myself for a year, and then on October 1st, I left for this incredible journey that I had across Ganga. The idea of today's talk is to tell you a little bit about this journey and what did I discover. So pretty much at 15,000 feet is the glacier, the Gangotri Glacier, the Gomukh Glacier. And it's something I insist that you do some time in your lifetime to see that how does a drop of water falling from the glacier can become the mighty river. And it's something that you see with your own eyes. You can see that small drop falling, drop, 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 become small rivulets, small streams, then the river, larger river, then the gigantic Ganga that we know of, but all starting from the small drop. And it's a catharsis from when you're coming out of a pandemic that you realize that small drops can make a huge difference. Um, I trekked down from Gomukh to Gangotri, and from there I took my bicycle. Um, this is 2,400 kilometers is the entire journey, which I cycled from. Uh, and this is important to know that I am not a pro sports guy or anything. It's just that I love, like all of you do. But you can do it. You can absolutely do this. Because my objective was not number of kilometers. My objective was not to be the first. My objective was to discover India in a way which is invisible, and there is no better vehicle which is invisible than a bicycle. And that is what I did. So in Gangotri, there's a temple where, so this is the Gomukh. This is the place where I was trekking. It's just incredibly breathtaking, but also very quiet, and you kind of start thinking about your thoughts, what's going to. I was kind of having a conversation about my father in this place. Often, when you lose somebody, you need to break away from everyday life to deal with things. This is the cycle on which I was cycling. This is the Gangotri temple. This is the puja that had just happened, the ritual that had just happened. The Pandit had come and blessed the cycle and me, and I was off with my journey. So you can see every now and then I would stop along the way, take a photograph, and this was my best friend, the cycle. That small cloth there is a religious cloth that we put, which was there with me. When I end the story, I'll tell you why I believe this faith is important. So I'll just show you a small clip. This is me out there. Let me see if this works. is a much larger clip, but I've kept it like this. But that's the kind of roads I was traveling on. That's the kind of place I was in. And the objective was not music. The objective was just empty, blank my head out, and just try and see the way things come. We plan things too much sometimes, and we lose the joy of it. Now this is a very important photograph. I'm going to fast forward. So I went to Gangotri, then there to Rishikesh and Allahabad and Patna, and now I've come to Banaras. So when you lose somebody in a COVID, because COVID isolates you, you don't see that person. I couldn't see my father. I didn't even see his remains because we were cut off. So this was the place where the closure happened, where I asked my mother to come. That's Sharda sitting behind. That's me, that's a Pandit. That's a photograph of my father. It's a ritualistic act which gives you a sense of closure. And I remember that particular day. This was around 7:30 in the morning. This is on the ghats of Banaras. And once the ceremony was over and I got up, I felt a sense of a little light. And then I was just standing next to the river, and a thought occurred to me. And this thought is very important, my friends. That all this journey I was doing was about me, my closure, my father, my discovery. Suddenly at that moment, the river told me that there are so many other people who had died of COVID. Can you be a messenger for them? Because everybody is not lucky to cycle along the Ganga like you're doing. So can you make this purpose a little bigger than just your father? And that's a thought that came to me. That evening, I remember that I had met a young girl in Patna who was a street artist. So every tank, water tank, old wall, she and her team keeps on painting, beautifying the way the Patna is. And I called her and said, her name is Ankita. I said, Ankita, can you make a small poster for me, which is about all that I'm feeling? She asked me, what would you call this? And I said, let me call this Anant Yatra, a journey which never ends. The life and death, death and life. That's a circle of life. That's what the river teaches you. So she made this painting, and it was not a small painting. It's a huge painting. But I'm kind of broken in parts. But if you can see, this is the COVID masks out here. That's the birth. That's the scriptures written out there. That's the Banaras Ghat. In fact, there's a second part to this. That's the fire from which is happening. That's the river. So this whole painting, when you see in its totality, each part is a story. This is a work of a young girl who's used to telling stories on not protected and sanitized environment. She's out there in the roads making painting which relate to you and me. She said, I want to be part of whatever you're doing. What was the idea? The idea was very simple. The idea was, how can I be a tool for other people who have lost their loved ones in the COVID? My focus changed from Banaras, from my journey to that. And this idea came that, let's do one thing. If they could send me the photographs of their near and dear ones who have lost on COVID, I could take these photographs along with me, and wherever the journey ends, I could do a ceremony for them. And I'm not saying the word puja because we don't know what the religion is. So it'll be a neutral something I do, an act that I do, which is beyond any religion, but it's a sense of closure to those people. I put this on social media. That's Ankita on this left, this young girl. She's a painter. That's some of you who know his name is Chit Sriram. He was one of the artists who was collaborating with me, and we were kind of looking at the painting. So I posted this on the Instagram, and I started getting queries. Where can we send photographs? What can we do? Actually, I didn't expect so much of. I thought 15, 20 people. As they started pouring in, I panicked. Suddenly I had a responsibility of somebody else's life. All this way it was just my father. There was responsibility of somebody else's life. What do I do? And what act can I do at the end of the journey which is beyond a religion but is also environment friendly? So I came up with the idea that why don't I ask somebody if they can print these photographs on environment friendly papers. And here I met another person in Kanpur. This is Kanpur. I was there in the morning and I met this amazing guy. So here's, this is a story which is absolutely mind-boggling. This person who I met, his house is next to the temple in Kanpur. His family always goes to the temple early in the morning. Even he goes, and he finds the temple extremely dirty. And not just that, the flowers that they use for the deity, within 5 seconds is washed away into the river. So the job of that flower is just 5 seconds in front of the deity, then it's taken away. And he had a problem with this. So what he did was, he actually motivated the local municipality and things like that, and says, can I get that thrown away flower back? They said yes. He took the flowers back. He took them to his factory, where he would put them to dry like this. See, they're all making, and he's made agarbattis out of that, incense sticks. From the temple, discarded flowers, he's treating them, making them agarbattis, and giving it back to the temples. And this is the guy, Karan Rastogi. Mind-blowing person, great energy, believes in ideology that we need to be responsible for everything that we're doing on this earth. When Karan heard about my idea, he said, you know, so what we can do? I can take paper from discarded cotton, industrial cotton that they use. I can take that cotton, make paper out of it, and not just that, I can put tulsi seeds. Tulsi is the holiest of the plants in India, which every religion uses, that plant. I will put those seeds inside the paper on which we'll print this photographs of the people we have lost in COVID. And that's what he did. And I was like, wow. One person's idea, suddenly it resonated. One person started joining, second person started joining. Then it became an absolute movement. Somebody, a printer in Delhi, found a way to have a vegetable ink made from vegetables so that artificial chemical is not used, and made color printers, images for these photographs to be printed on. Somebody, a pilot in an airlines, overnight bought these photographs from Delhi to Kanpur, who was on a flight. I didn't know him. He saw my Instagram post. He said, you know what? I can help you cargo this thing. He got it over. And before I knew it, as I was reaching the end of Ganga Sagar, where the river ends, it was a 70-day journey, I saw people just coming in, sending photographs. The day I reached Ganga Sagar, I had 950 photographs from people who had lost their near and dear ones in COVID, from a single post on Instagram. While it's a great number, it is also a sad number. That's the number of people we have lost, and so much more. But the fact that I could make a difference to the lives of those 950 people, where I had set out to do a journey for my father, was the biggest lesson that Ganga gave me. Because Ganga taught me that journeys are not about yourself. Journeys is when you can include everybody and make a difference and make a change as a community. That's when a journey is successful. This is a school, a very poor school, and this point I make with complete responsibility, that you are privileged that you're in such an amazing school. The school where I went to, there was no roof. It was broken. In rainy seasons, they put plastic on top for them to study. In that kind of school, the principal reached out and I said, we got to know that you're doing something like this. Can we offer our school for your final memorial? I said, thank you so much. That's where I went. In the school, at the entry, this structure was made. This is from absolute Ganga's Mati, the sand from there. That's my mother. My mother was obviously devastated that a life partner of her life had gone away. This gave her closure. She's a painter, so she could paint these things at that point to decorate this memorial, where not just her husband's photograph was there, there were 900 other people who were part of her husband's journey. This is the final shot. That humongous painting, which was made by Ankita, became a kind of a plaque out there. If ever in your life you go to Ganga Sagar where the river ends, you will see this memorial there. You will see plants coming out, tulsi plants. There's a metamorphosis of a person and his memory, which is finite, into plants which shall live forever. It's an idea which I didn't come across. The community helped me realize that idea. And I think that was one of the most incredible. That's the Ganga Jal, which I collected all the way through the journey, and I kind of kept it there. In a month and a half, Songs of the River is going to be a major web series in a channel, which you will see, you will get to know. Remember this, the first time I ever talked about it was in your school, Singapore International. I've never revealed this trip to anybody. I used this platform to talk to you about this journey. Why did I want to talk to you about this journey? To let you know one thing, that a school can teach you tools, but how to string them together, you have to get out of a classroom. If ever you visualize the keyboard, the piano, there are the white keys and the black keys. When you start learning, you use the white keys because they're easy. Life is like that. Everything cannot be great. You need shades of great and not great, which creates a great melody. I insist, sometime in your lives, just go out there and see this incredible country. Do an expedition, go to the desert, mountains, river, discover yourself. Who knows, tomorrow you may want to hold more hands and make this life worth living. Thank you so much.